For more on the significance of this speech, we're joined now by Sourabh Gupta. He's a senior policy specialist at the Institute for China and America Studies. So Ri didn't actually address these flights, but he did condemn the UN sanctions and called them heinous and barbaric. He said we're just a few steps away from the final gate of completion of the state nuclear force. What do you think, given that statement, the next step will be by the DPRK?
The next step of the DPRK will be, and this is for certain, to find a way to mate a nuclear warhead on an intercontinental ballistic missile and feel assured that they will be able to hit the United States. As of now, they have tested an ICBM, but they still need a little bit more testing to have that degree of assurance. They are going to race towards this form of tests so that they can deter the United States with a nuclear weapon.
What did you make of Ri Yong-ho's comments addressing Mr. Trump's comments earlier?
They were calm and collected, but they were very, very cold and angry, and you could see that anger both in his comments, also in Kim Jong-un's comments. I am afraid that we are stepping towards, we are not yet at the precipice of war, but we are getting close to that precipice of war. And down the line, historians will look at this week as being that important week which pushed all parties that much closer to war, unfortunately.
So do you think Mr. Trump's remarks provoked him to this point?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because more than even what Foreign Minister Ri talked about, what Mr. Kim Jong-un said was that he was hoping to see or hear in Mr. Trump's remarks some sort of conciliation. Instead, what he heard from Mr. Trump primarily was the annihilation of a sovereign state, and that statement made right at the United Nations itself. And so they've seen it very differently.
What was the message by the Pentagon in flying these B-15 bombers from Guam?
Oh, it is to demonstrate resolve that the United States stands ready to use force at an instant to eliminate Kim Jong-un and take the war to him if ever that is required. But it is also important to note that, and this is not what Mr. Kim said, but what Foreign Minister Ri said, that if anyone tries to do a decapitating strike or a decapitating operation on North Korea, they will answer that preemptively. Otherwise, they are doing these all in self-defense, but they will then answer that decapitating strike preemptively, and that can, of course, arouse great tensions.
China taking a strong stance. The UN has put in place sanctions. What is the point now of Mr. Trump's rhetoric?
Mr. Trump's rhetoric is, of course, dangerous. The greatest fallout of this has been that this was a chance for Mr. Trump. This was the most important international relations speech that Mr. Trump has given so far, and there was an opportunity for him to lay out also an opportunity for peace or an opportunity for some form of negotiation or return to the diplomatic table. That has not come across at all, and the way the North Koreans view it, and as again Kim Jong-un wrote or spoke, he has heard Mr. Trump saying essentially what was a declaration of war. So that scope for a negotiated solution, at least for the time being in the immediate future, I'm afraid has just been pushed further back.
Why is the DPRK saying they had no